Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Season 2 of Dickinson. And this is the Apple TV Plus series starring Haley Steinfeld, and she is playing Emily Dickinson. And the first season came out, and it was the one show that came out like all at once on Apple TV Plus once it launched. Everything else was a weekly show or so. And this time around, they dropped 3 episodes, but then started doing the weekly thing, and Haley Steinfeld was fantastic as Emily Dickinson in the first season, and you get so much more in this season. You get to see her kind of exploring her sexuality and her feelings for different people, and this interesting and intriguing budding relationship that she has with her friend Sue, played by Ella Hunt, who is also great in the show. There's definitely some tension and complexities to this relationship, and I love where it goes leading up to a really emphatic and poignant payoff in the season finale of this season, because you have all this tension. You have Sue, who's married to Emily's brother, which that's also a great thing about this season. You get a lot of a bunch of different characters. You get Emily, and you have her struggling with, does she want to be published? Does she want to put her art out there? Will she lose her art if she does? And dealing with her feelings and making these connections with other people because she's not very sociable. And she has all of those strange anxiety and social anxiety. And then you have her siblings who each get their own. You have Adrian Ensko, who plays Austin, who is having some issues with Sue, his wife, and you get to see him gain a little bit of agency in his life and trying to branch out and trying to find his own passions. You have Anna Baryshnikov, who plays Lavinia, her sister, who's struggling throughout the season. Like, does she really want to marry this guy? Is this guy really for her? Or is it just that she doesn't want to be alone? And I love Jane Krakowski and Toby Huss as their parents. They're great supporting characters in this show. And you get some layers of, you get some challenges of gender roles in this time period. And that's the thing too, this show is very feminist and very outspoken and a bit anachronistic in terms of like its use of music. Like the theme song, it's like gonna drop the beat on this Emily Dickinson show, and it feels very lively and different, and it gives a different kind of vibe, and I appreciate that about the show. It's not something that's just purely historical. It gives a fresh new identity to the story of Emily Dickinson in a more modern context. You add Finn Jones in this season, who seems to be a bit of a player, running this newspaper. He wants to publish Emily, and I really enjoyed Finn Jones in this series. He's definitely a lot more charismatic and interesting than he was in Iron Fist, but I enjoyed him in this show. This season also continues some of the fun that it has with some actual famous historical figures, and one in particular, Nick Kroll, pops up as a very famous figure in the most ambitious episode where Emily wakes up and nobody can notice her. And she goes around and she winds up getting in this carriage of death, and she meets this one particular historical figure that is odd and kind of takes you out of the show a bit, but I also kind of thought it was funny. It was an interesting and dynamic show, and Elena Smith, who created this show, brings a lot of life and a lot of energy and a lot of fun to this story. And I was hooked, and I felt very emotionally connected with how this season wrapped up and how each of these characters wound up, including a very satisfying payoff in the season finale. So definitely a fan of Season 2 of Dickinson, and you should go check it out. But those are my thoughts on Dickinson. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.